I wanted to say a little bit about my own experience with ICE and immigration. I don't know how many people here have seen videos and photos of masked, armed agents attempting to or successfully intimidating and detaining immigrants. But that's something that I saw in person here in Acton just a few weeks ago. I'm part of a network that gets alerts when ICE is seen. I'll say a little bit more about that later for people who might like to get involved in something like that. But I received an alert that ICE was in the neighborhood, and 5 or 6 of us showed up and watched ICE agents circling around a neighborhood in these black tinted SUVs and Jeeps and vehicles. And we just observed, we watched them, we challenged them, we asked them why they were there. We identify ourselves as part of a neighborhood watch group, which we are, concerned about the safety of our neighbors who are living peacefully in our neighborhood, and now there are unidentified vehicles with armed, masked agents who are cowards, exactly. So we would ask them who they were, and most of them would refuse to answer us. They wouldn't say anything. And then after about 2.5 hours, they all converged on a vehicle that had arrived. Now, I'm being vague about exactly where and who, because the people who are at risk are very concerned about their own safety, the safety of their families, and they don't want to be publicly identified. But these agents converged, jumped out of the car with these masks, with uniforms that did not identify them as federal agents. They simply said police with no other identifying information. And this is not an accident. This is all intentional. Their goal is to intimidate, to frighten, to scare. I had a video camera and I'm taping this, and they were up in my face, literally like this, saying, back off, or you will be arrested. And my heart was beating. I mean, it's frightening to have someone with a hand on a gun and a black uniform and a full face mask saying they will arrest you. I stood my ground, but didn't try to interfere. I said, so why do I need to listen to you? Who are you? Do you have identification? What agency are you with? The response, back off or I will arrest you. Arrest on what charge? Interfering. So this is the kind of tactic that they use to try to discourage any visibility of what they're doing. I have about 45 minutes of tape of them questioning, harassing, intimidating these neighbors of mine, and eventually they handcuffed them, brought them here, shipped them to someplace in the south, I believe Louisiana. And again, this is not an accident. Their goal is to separate people from their support systems, from their families, from their legal representation, and they're successfully doing it. I do want to say that we had what I would consider a small victory, and it's those victories that keep me motivated. We were able to raise money to help support the families who were left behind here. We were able to raise some funds for legal representation, and we were able to raise some funds for bond. And these 2 individuals were actually released in the middle of somewhere far, far away. And again, we were able to raise some funds to get them back to home to their families. So these are people who have a hard time standing up for themselves. They may or may not be undocumented. I actually don't know their exact status, and it's not my business. My business is to help protect people who are at risk and vulnerable. So let me say a little bit about the organization that I'm involved with. It's called LUCE, L-U-C-E, Liberation, Unity, Community, and Hope. Hope in Spanish is esperanza. And I think that the fact that it's a multilingual name speaks very much to the goal of what we're trying to do, which is to unite communities of at-risk and vulnerable people. LUCE is an immigrant-led organization. I don't even know all the leaders because some of them are at risk and undocumented. And what they've asked us to do is not interfere, not try to prevent people from being detained, because that could put those people at even more risk. What we're there to do is to observe, to document, and to support. And if anyone is interested in being a part of that process, we have flyers. We have a hotline that people call when there is evidence of ICE activity, and people locally who can will show up and document, observe, ask for identification. Again, we're a nonviolent organization. We're not trying to get arrested. We're not trying to escalate conflict, but we also don't want to sit by and ignore the kind of injustice that we're seeing